A couple guests this afternoon that feel appropriate for the time of year. If you can't tell, that Schenker, you're a little disappointed your Mariners are out of it, but
I always cheer on the Tigers, boys.
it's good to have you, Schenker, and fan favorite, friend of the show, Brian Hawley. Thanks for coming in, pal.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here again.
We missed you the last time because we had no outburst and preaching to the choir about Vince Carter not getting his jersey.
I did get some feedback.
We missed it.
I did get some feedback.
I did too.
Yeah.
But I spent a lot of
What,
time.
that he was a little aggressive, or?
No, they just didn't like his take.
It'll
on
be
it.
on the Google reviews, so maybe we'll go that way.
Well, you know, when you talk long enough, somebody's going to disagree with you.
That's right.
That's right. Hey, well, you know
Unless you're
what?
Razor.
If you go with the flow, then why would people tune in to you, right?
Yeah.
So
I spent
Yeah.
a lot of time the last 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, me and Hop all together. We did a lot of hockey calling, didn't we, Hop?
We did 3 days and 3 nights. And any more time together, your wife's going to think you got a girlfriend.
You guys did a great job.
yeah,
Well, thank you. It was a lot
Awesome.
of fun. And,
Yeah.
that was awesome hearing the Michigan call, guys. That that was great.
I like I said to Brian, I had to pause and was that actually what I saw? And then I had the poor kid run. No, that was Slattery. I'm like, oh man, Slattery with the. I can't believe he did the Michigan. I had a guy comment. He said that's the best call. He pulled the Michigan off.
I was talking to a few people at the Irish game on Saturday, and they brought up some valid points. And I guess junior is one of those leagues where you really want to be careful with that type of move, because with the goal lead that they had at that point in the game and pulling that, you might have a little bit of a tattoo on your head the next game. So they got to be alert to that.
The good thing is they don't play Caledon again this year.
Oh, really?
Oh, was that the interdivision?
It was a crossover.
Okay.
game.
Oh, then good on you.
That goalie.
No worries.
All right.
That
game
goalie.
on.
That goalie was done. He was done by that goal, Brian.
that was, we'd
was
gone
6.
down to, they were skating in sand by the third period, quite honestly.
You do bring up a good point, though. Like that, people take receipts.
Oh, yeah, they
when
do.
you
100%.
do something like that, and you hate to say it, but folks, let's be real here. If you disrespect somebody, you know, in a way that they take it the wrong way. Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened with the Michigan goal, because let's face it, we all love seeing good plays like that, but you just got to be careful not to overstep it and end up getting retribution later on.
I think he picked the spot. He knows they're playing Caledon. He knows he's going to have tons of time to go around the net. Now, would he have done that against London, St. Mary's? No, because he would have been on his ass.
The thing is, like the Michigan he did isn't the true form of the Michigan, right? He picked that up from behind the net and tucked it in the top corner
It was
on his
lightning
stick.
fast.
First of all, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
got the puck on my stick. Second of all, by the time I got it up there, it's probably flying halfway down the ice.
Like those are the sort of talent things, though, that bring people out of their seats. Like Trevor Zegras, nobody really talks about, all his points that he gets in Anaheim, but everybody talks about his trick shots and stuff like that, and it's a part of the game now. So
I wonder what started the hate at the higher levels for that play. I mean,
well, because
it kind of reminds me of the bat flip in baseball. It was hated for a little while, but it's been around, and you see some epic bat flips now. Nobody says anything about it.
And I don't know, Holly. It's a great question. I think it's not a hockey play, and I think that when you do that, and the sheer amount of talent in the leagues these days, top to bottom, that's a little. How's she going? It's you got to be careful when you perform it, because you're gonna have your head up, because
Well, let's face it. If we saw that, if Cameron Stokes does that Saturday night at the Irish game, or maybe someone a little more inflammatory like a Mav Petrie, all hell breaks loose.
Are we on mute again?
no, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
We're going.
Every podcast, your dad calls me, and I don't know
He's
why.
calling me too. I don't know why. Hey, Clayton, stop calling us.
Maybe he thinks it's a call-in show.
I don't know.
It's
Let's just answer him.
Got
Let's
the old
answer
caller
the old
show.
guy. Oh, he hung up. Oh. Hello? See? He's not even on it.
Okay.
It's a butt dial.
Okay.
It's a Monday night pocket.
He did that
dial.
last week too, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll always answer the call, but I just now it's just too,
I'm gonna have to
there's
talk
two
to
in
the
a
old
row.
guy.
Just pull him aside and say, hey, Dad, hey, how are you? Listen, we go live at 5:30, right?
If Steve's watching, that's your father.
Exactly. But anyways, great weekend, and again, great job, guys. I heard a lot of great compliments, and not to drag this on any longer, but it was good. So hopefully you guys can work together again soon for the different events. But let's turn to a couple pressing topics right now. And for everybody listening, I was joking about Schenker's Mariners. He's one of the biggest Tiger fans I know, and your boys are playing right now.
Yeah, 0-0 right now in the top of the sixth.
Yeah.
Tigers got another 6-4-3 double play to get out of the fifth. But in timely hitting earlier in the game, they could be up 2 or 3-0 right now. And Halser was right. They just got to score with Skubal here on the mound.
Yeah.
It's a must-win for the Tigers to win this game. If
Oh,
they,
yeah, it's
if they
gotta
have
be.
any hope of winning this series, they got to win tonight for sure.
What a great story that Detroit Tigers fan told about Skubal. I'm sure most of you guys saw the clip where they're interviewing a fan in Detroit, and they're talking about Skubal, and he said, "Tell us about the story about him coming up to you." And so, I guess back in spring training or whatever, Skubal was chewing pumpkin seeds and threw this fan like a pumpkin seed. And the fan looks at the interviewer and he said, "He didn't throw me a sunflower seed. He threw me a pumpkin seed. Pumpkin is October. That means something." And so, like, the guy was running with it.
He's had it ever since.
He's kept the pumpkin seed that Skubal threw at him. And so he's become such a fan favorite in Detroit. The team, after they clinched and made the playoffs, brought him out onto the field and got him into the team photograph. Like, it's a Cinderella story, right?
It's why I love sports.
He's Detroit's
Honestly.
version of Grimace.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That Padres LA game. Did
Oh my
anybody else
God.
think that was going to blow up? Like, that was a
Absolutely.
powder
Well, the
keg.
fans were throwing baseballs at the
Well,
left fielder.
Come on, Profar, he instigated that when he brought back that home run, and then he turned around chipping at the fan.
Did you see Tatis too during the break?
Yeah.
He was smiling at the fans, just
Oh, yeah.
egging them on.
Yeah.
Like,
That's got to be like
then they hit him
the
and-
angriest series right now.
That's
like
a rivalry series.
very
for
much,
sure.
very much. And you're right. That was in the first inning. Mookie Betts has had a terrible postseason. Like I think he's gone something like 3 for 44 over the past 4 postseasons.
Ouch.
And
Really?
it's
Yeah.
terrible.
Wow.
Like so uncharacteristic of Betts. And for those that didn't see it, he hits a right-hand bat, hits one to deep left field. Profar catches it amongst a whole bunch of fans, but acts like as if he didn't. And so all the fans are looking at each other, and Profar, as he's backing up, coming back into the field, then starts mocking
and
the
Betts
the
is running
crowd.
the bases.
Yeah, Betts thought it was a home run.
Betts just got his hands in the air,
Yeah.
celebrating, pointing
Yeah.
out to the field, and the first thought that came to my mind was poker. He slow rolled him.
Yes. Yeah, you're
He
right.
totally slow rolled him.
Absolutely.
And if it was the regular season, I would bet my firstborn that he takes one in the ear first time he comes up to bat.
Well, and then
Absolutely.
Tatis ended up taking one there in the 6th later on, but
Well, that was the thing, is that the game got out of hand.
It did.
because San Diego hit about 27 home runs by that
Yeah, that
point.
Yes.
was it.
It was 10-2 when I stopped paying
Yep.
attention to it. And I
Same.
thought, wow, this one could get ugly now because
I love
well,
it.
and then
Well,
Machado's
it's
throwing
a-
balls into
it's
the
a
Dodgers
rivalry game,
dugout,
and
and like
it's
it's just we hate each
Uh,
other,
the
right?
pitcher for LA is up on the top of the stairs yelling at Machado at third
Yeah.
base. I'm going, this thing's going to blow up.
I don't think there's enough of that these days.
Well, it
Like,
reminds
I love
me.
It. I love it.
Absolutely.
It reminds me of a different series in the AL going on, the Royals and the Yankees.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to happen out of this series. But back in the day, for those of us who are old, from 1976 to 1980, I believe, are the years. They played each other 4 times in 5 years in
Yeah.
the LCS.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the stuff that happened, and I watched it, being the big fan that I am, I watched most of it. And that is the famous Pine Tar incident that happened in, I think,
George
80.
Brett.
Yeah.
George
Brett
Brett
third
hit
At
the
Yankee
three-run home
Stadium.
run, and when he darn near murdered Tim McClellan, the home plate umpire. And the thing that was so 70s about it is that how did he measure the amount of pine tar? He just put it on the plate. Well, the plate's 17 and a half inches, so if there's more pine tar than plate, and he called him out.
But seeing Brett run out with
Yeah.
a wad of Red Man in his bottom lip, like that is just
It's
classic.
just
classic.
It is.
It's things like that you remember from your childhood. Like I remember the
Yeah.
Rick Monday.
Oh, breaking the Expos
Breaking the
heart
Expos heart, right? I remember that
Steve
Monday,
Rogers, yeah.
Monday.
at Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Who did George Brett punch in the playoffs?
2 years prior to that,
Yankee
they're
guy
playing
slid
the
in the
Yankees.
second, third base.
he was at third. And what happened first was, and
Greg
you know,
Nettles.
I don't mind telling the story, is that it was Chris Chambliss who came into second base and barrel rolled UL Washington. And when I mean barrel rolled him, he was 3 feet above the base and went into UL to break up a double play into his hips. And Chris Chambliss, for those who don't know, was a big man.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, later in that series, he was the one that hit the walk-off home run. There's still a famous scene where Chris Chambliss is trying to run the bases and guys
The
are
fans,
running onto the
yeah,
field.
yeah.
And he's
Oh,
fighting
yeah.
through the crowd, knocking guys out cold. I thought, oh man, if that was now, that'd be a lawsuit. So anyway, he slides into second base, tries to come in hard, and Nettles just puts a boot up, cleats up, and
Yeah.
kicks him right in the face.
Yeah.
And the thing that was so 70s, and I forget who I was telling the story to, it was so 70s where he kicks the guy in the face with his steel cleats. George Brett gets up, punches him right in the face. Both benches empty. Brett was just telling the story the other day about that, how the late Thurman Munson, who died, I believe, after that season in a plane crash,
Right. Yep.
got him in a headlock, buried him down, and everybody's piling on top, and whispers in his ear, don't worry, nobody's going to cheap shot you. This is Thurman Munson
Really?
saying to Brett. So both benches empty, everybody's fighting. You know,
Yankees
it was-
catcher.
it was kung fu fighting all over the place. They all finally break it up, not one ejection.
Love it.
That's why we bring
Love
in Hawley.
it.
I
Yeah.
love the stories.
No
It was like,
ejections.
I wasn't there. I feel like
No
I
fines,
now was.
no ejections, just the place went absolutely
What a story, eh?
bat
That is
crazy,
great.
And nobody got kicked out. Why? Because it's the 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today,
Absolutely.
everybody's kicked out. Everybody's fined $1 million. The owner, the manager's gone for 3-game suspension.
Yeah.
The talk shows go nuts about it, the state of baseball, but not the 70s. It was like,
No.
wasn't that a cool game?
No.
And they suited up and went at it again the next night.
Yeah.
And I think it was the next night that Chambliss hit the walk-off home run.
Yeah, when you said Thurman Munson there, it just brought up something. After we went off the air last week, Pete Rose passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like within an hour or two
Yeah,
after
it was
us
just
being
it
off.
just happened to go off the air, and I got
Yeah.
home and I looked and I went, no way.
I think you sent that to Razor, and
Yeah.
I don't know, 9:15.
quarter after 9. So it was just after we went off the air. And this week there's been a lot of people remembering Pete Rose. And
Did you hear what Bob Costas had to say? Like, he's such a voice, like talking about sports in general, but especially about Pete Rose.
It's incredible to think about how long Bob Costas has actually been around.
Unreal. And he doesn't age.
No.
Like he looks like he's still in his 50s.
He
and-
looks younger than I do.
Yeah. And
There's
like
a couple of bucks
he
in
was
there, I
so
think.
good.
Yeah, well, that's part of the deal.
Fair.
He's on
Fair.
TV.
You're
He's
on
on
TV,
TV, Hawley.
But you know
Let's
what
go
though?
ahead.
Like
Fair
he like you talk about like an encyclopedia. Like he
Oh.
reminds me of Vin Scully.
Yeah.
Like with the encyclopedia knowledge that he has. And he just said like, you know, he who has not sinned may cast the first stone, right? Like that was basically what he was saying. Now, will he ever get into the hall? Who knows, right?
Well,
But
ironically,
not in his
that
lifetime.
the way I had heard it is that he would get in, but it would be posthumously.
Yeah.
right.
Which I hope not. Like that's not the way. We could argue this for
Well,
a while. I just don't think.
Look
it's
at the other example that absolutely frustrated me to no end was Pat Burns.
Yes.
Same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's just I don't know why they decide is it a lesson to be learned or an example to be showed. I don't agree with it. Pete Rose, rest easy.
Yeah. And like I said, if you guys want to watch a documentary, watch Charlie Hustle and the Matter of Pete Rose.
It's great.
It's great. It's a very telltale documentary. And there's some other great ones that have just come out that I've been going through. So
Well,
Yeah.
That's
they
another
were my
good one.
team growing up. Before,
The Reds?
Yeah, before Toronto got a team, I watched the Reds, and it was one of the greatest teams of all time. It wasn't just Pete Rose; it was Joe Morgan, and it was
Parrish.
Concepcion.
Yeah.
and Tony Perez,
Yeah.
and Ken Griffey
Is it
Sr.
Larry Parrish?
Cesar Geronimo, Tom Seaver pitched for them, Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
The greatest catcher of all time,
Right.
and I'll stand up and
And-
go toe to toe with anybody that disagrees with me.
And he played for my Expos too at one time.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. He played for.
Yeah.
I remember him winning.
A lot of people don't remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And Sparky Anderson, the manager, and of course they were the Big Red Machine,
Yeah.
and they made back-to-back World Series and
Yep.
won. They beat Boston in that. That was a famous one in '75. That in Game 6 when Carlton Fisk hit that famous home run in
And
extra
then,
innings where he
yeah,
Waved it over.
Waved it in.
Yeah, that was Game 6, and then
Yeah.
he came back. They came back the next night, and Cincinnati pumped him. I think 5 or 6-1 in Game 7.
I thought Johnny Bench's statement on Pete Rose's death or death was the best. He goes, people thought we hated each other. He goes, that was far from the truth. We talked every day. You know.
Wow. Wonder
just
why
goes
people
back,
thought
right?
that.
He
Though.
was not a nice man, Pete Rose, but at the end of the day, neither was Ty Cobb. You know?
Well, and at the end, there's a saying: "Never meet your heroes," because a lot of the time, and there's a lot to be said for people who maybe just aren't nice people. But when you put someone who you watch on a TV on such a high pedestal, you don't want to meet them because they're going to disappoint. It's just
That's a
we're
good
all
point.
human.
Good
They're
point.
just
Great
just
point.
people, right? They make mistakes and all the rest. I'm not condoning any,
Yeah, they can't all be Gretzky, right?
100%.
You know.
Well,
100% true.
exactly. Like, he's my hero, and I would love to. Well, I've met him once, but he didn't know me from a hill of beans when we were out in L.A. in '94, and Blake wasn't a superstar yet. I said, Blakey, you got to get me to, just say hi to him or get a it for those of you that remember. I got to get a Polaroid with him.
Yeah.
And
But-
he's
No kidding. Seriously? You didn't
absolutely.
have your Samsung Flip phone?
The phones weren't out yet.
But
So we had Dave Collett and not Dave. Anyways, we were out there in L.A. and he ended up taking a picture, and I said to him, I go, Cully, I said, don't screw this one up. We get one shot with him. And that was when he had hurt his back. Gary Suter had cross-checked him in the Canada Cup, so he hadn't played. So he didn't play when we were out.
91?
Yeah.
Ish.
Was it 91? 94?
Yeah, no, that's a
Early
good guess.
90s.
91.
yeah, but if you look at Gretzky, that's all. His parents were the salt of the earth, right? So
Just the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Now, he didn't know who we were there with, but he knew that we were with somebody on the Kings to get to where we were. And he had come off the ice early, showered, and was the first one out of the room. And I ended up getting a Polaroid with him, and it was great. It was awesome. So I felt like I was 8 years old. But
Well, and just even sharing like these memories, and I mean, you're just a jukebox of information, Hawley. It's so fun to reminisce, especially this time of year with all the magic going on with the postseason, and the season's already started, I guess, for the NHL over in was it Germany?
Prague, yeah.
In
Czech
Prague.
My
Czechia.
apologies.
Czechia.
Your Devils were over there
Yeah, and they
playing the Sabres.
looked pretty good, or was the armpit of the New York State that bad?
Well,
Oh, any
Buffalo's not
hostility
that
there,
good.
Schenker? Just going on a limb here.
Well, I just think Lindy Ruff might be in over his head this year.
Okay,
What's this? His third time now coaching there.
third time around.
Third time's a charm.
Charm,
That's what
yeah,
they say,
right?
right? I mean,
Yeah.
who knows?
Hey.
But
They're talking about Buffalo having a good shot to make the playoffs. Their kids are getting older, but in fairness, I like your team.
Markstrom.
I like your team. I think
fantastic.
Markstrom gives your team a completely new dynamic. And when you get Hughes back, they'll be tough. They'll be tough in Hughes.
yeah.
Holly was with us, and then we were talking to Clarkie and Nick Parr, and we pulled out the replay of the Markstrom save, and we're all going,
Oh,
"Oh,
what
yeah.
that was ridiculous,
Yeah.
that save.
I
If you haven't
still
seen it
think
at home,
He's
folks,
going to serve you well,
Google it.
I
Schenker.
think so.
There's no doubt.
But like my thing, I've sold Timo Meyer.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be the X factor this year. Stay healthy, and he could put up 60, 70, 80.
Yeah,
Like he did.
yeah.
in San
Put up
Jose,
a
right?
solid season in
Yeah.
his terms.
Playing on a great second line. So
How do you think Keefe's going to change the dressing room? What do you think with him?
Devils are young, right? So I think he fits in well there. But it's the regular season, I'm not worried. It's the playoffs where he chokes.
Yeah, I've referenced him a few times, and I cut Bill Taylor's hair. The father of Tim and Chris and Andrew, and he tells me that they're feeling pretty good about things out in New Jersey. There's, you got a fresh start with a coach who I think, let's face it, he was in the epitome of the spotlight in the NHL. I'm not making excuses for him because you're expected to perform at the NHL level. It's not the tryout league,
But
and I've heard
now
that.
he can hide. He can hide on the East Coast in New Jersey.
Well, and the thing about it is, though, if they have a bad loss, he's only going to have probably 5 or 6 news reporters in front of him instead of 25. There's a difference with that.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
2
all-
of them will be from Toronto. Just
Now-
2 of them will be from Toronto.
Just to
'cause they're
follow
still
them.
following
You
them.
can't lose this week. They can't lose their home opener Thursday because the Toronto media will be all over them.
Well, wait till their team plays, and then
Yeah.
they'll be right off your
That's what I
back.
So
No, I hear what you're saying.
yeah,
But it was interesting, and just and I love my conversations with Bill. But there's a different energy out there this year. Chris is feeling really good about things. I'm not speaking for him.
glad he's still
Neither is Bill. But he's feeling fortunate to still be on board. He could have been, he could have been shipped out. But I don't know what it is. Getting older, I couldn't stand the Devils. I just couldn't stand them, and now I don't
It's a
mind them.
trap.
Yeah, I couldn't
Well,
stand
the
the way they
trap.
played the game. That
Yeah.
was, I mean, they just
But anyways.
Lou Lamoriello, the
wasn't a
way-
fan of Lemaire either.
Yeah,
I'm excited for your team. See what happens.
I just think you need to maybe dress up like Putty did, like with the
With the
devilfish.
They,
I love that.
For those of
Seinfeld.
you
Take it
that
for the
ever
team.
watched the
I love the
Seinfeld
Seinfeld.
Another
episode,
Seinfeld reference.
Yeah.
the Fan 590 has Sheldon Keith as Coach of the Year.
wow,
Yeah.
wow.
What, 2 years ago?
So wouldn't that be a story though? He gets Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it the Leafs?
Why would that
No,
be?
Or
it
was
the
it-
Fan 590. They were going over their
No, but I
preseason
mean,
picks.
I mean, like if he ends up winning,
Well-
the Coach of the Year award, then people are going to be going, well, was it like the dressing
too
room?
much meddle- there's too much meddling in
Marner?
Toronto.
Wow, there's obviously a lot
I
going
don't-
on, but it'll be
I don't
interesting.
know. It's so that's a shot in the wind, like
Well, that
to
is,
me.
but
Yeah, the season's just starting.
you still got
Yeah.
you just got to love the guy that made the schedule in the NHL. They got Montreal and then Jersey.
In fairness, I think it's a good fit there. I mean, he's a soft sell
Keith?
kind of
Yeah.
coach
I think he's a good coach
with a young
He was
team.
just in the wrong.
But he's a soft sell personality, right? He's not a Keenan style. He's not a
No.
hard ass.
No, he's not an
I
Iron
noticed,
Mike.
and all of you did too. Is my biggest thing was when he started to backtrack from criticism of the big boys in Toronto. I knew that it wasn't his show, and that was just the reality of it. So obviously in the interviews that he was doing, probably with New Jersey, he wants a little bit more, say, so he doesn't have to go out the next day and go, yeah, you know what I said about Hughes? I may have been a little bit, because there was a couple of occurrences with the Leafs where he had to backtrack on Marner and Matthews, and to me that just isn't a coach that is in command of the team. Just my opinion.
Yeah, fair point.
What's up next?
Well, the Leafs made it official today. They signed Pacioretty and Steven Lorentz to one-year deals, and now the Leafs are $1 million under the $88 million salary cap ahead of Wednesday's season opener against
Yeah,
your
everybody
Habs.
had till 5 o'clock today to be cap compliant.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
You
They're
said 1 million.
1
$1
million.
million.
That's better than last year.
that's right.
So they sent Hockenpah, and who else did they send to the LTIR? Duar.
Dwar.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tom
So-
Dewar, yeah.
Duar, sorry.
Yeah.
James Reimer was picked up on waivers by Anaheim. Buffalo put him on waivers.
Yeah. Interesting point for Pacioretty. I was listening to a little bit of Toronto radio today while I was out with my dog. And they're trying to figure out, unless I think your analysis of where he should play is accurate in the top
Yeah.
6, the Toronto personalities of Toronto sports doesn't have him there. It's really hard to say.
He's not gonna be your fourth line center because he's not a grinder.
I guess
So-
what's the point? I guess
Yeah.
is the answer, right? If you're not going to put him in the top 6, what was the point of signing him?
Well,
He's
money.
a sniper.
Money.
Yeah.
No, but I mean he's a sniper. If you want to set him up for success, you have to put him in the top 6.
Or if you want him on the third line, playing 13 minutes a game, you're not gonna see the full possibilities with him.
well,
Like
Well,
I'm wondering,
like,
with
because
all the
you-
miles that are on him, if they're setting him up for April.
well,
Well-
is that not why he's here? He's here to score a goal in the playoffs, right? I mean,
Well,
Well,
that's
he's here to do an abundance of things. I guess the biggest thing that I was gathering today from Toronto radio was, so you've got in your top 6, you've got Nyes, Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Tavares, Domi. Like, not in that order, but that's your top 6. Did I say Domi
Yeah.
twice?
no.
No. So a couple of people were saying, does Patches not go in above Domi? I think that's an easy conversation to have. I'm not in charge, but to me, Pacioretty plays over Domi 10 out of 10 times.
Maybe
still.
the question is which one of those 6 is best served on the third line, and that might be Tavares.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of scenarios, right?
That's where
And-
I'd move to.
And that's
would be
not an
down to the
insult to
third.
Tavares. I'm
Pacioretty
just
up to
saying
the-
when you get him into a little better matchup,
Yeah.
maybe he has a better season.
Yep, and he's still out in different situational plays. Like you're still, if you need,
Well, he's still
if,
playing on your power play and
and if you have a face-off in your own zone, he's going out there.
strong face-off guy.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Like, he gave up to C, so he knows his role's diminishing, right?
Yeah.
So be
Yeah.
a team player.
So it strikes me as he'd give them depth as a third line center iceman.
yeah,
And I also think that I'm trying to remember who it was last year that Toronto had that didn't. He was old and didn't play all the games. And Pacioretty might be in. He might only play 45, 50 games this year.
well, and I was mentioning
Yeah.
before on previous podcasts that I don't think the gamble ever was what Pacioretty can do, and they don't need him to score 30 goals. It's his health.
No, they just need him
Right.
to score one. And I mean, let's face it. He scores one in last year's playoff series. They win that series.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
and he's got the experience, right? He's a good hockey player. He's 35.
He can get to the net. He can get
Yep.
to the corner and win the puck. You know, I like him as a hockey
Been a
player.
captain, is a leader. Like I like the
He'll
signing.
be good in the room. Yeah, absolutely.
I think he really
for
will be.
873,000. Honestly, it's a no-brainer.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Well, and the other thing that I like about it is that, you know, like you had mentioned, Schenker, about Tavares, like he's handling it like a pro. You don't hear a whisper out of him. Like, say what you want about the guy, but he just wants to win. And hey, you want to take the C from me and give it to Matthews? Fine. He just wants to win. Now, he might be singing a different tune next year when he's looking for a new contract. But right now, he's just being a good foot soldier, saying and doing all the right things. He went over to the World Championships to, you know, prove his point, show how hungry he was. Like, I love John Tavares.
I've absolutely hammered on Tavares over the last couple of years, and I will admit that. One thing I will say about this whole situation is it proves to me he's about the team and not about himself.
100.
When you can surrender the captaincy, which, don't kid yourself, took everything in his might to do, because that just doesn't
For sure.
happen. He has a team first.
Yep.
He understands his role, and his numbers and all that are, you know, they're subtracting, right? Like, he's not going to produce as much.
Yep.
If third line center is what he is in Toronto, and next year when his contract is up, you watch. He'll probably sign for $1 million
Yeah.
if that's what he wants.
Yep.
But for him to do all that, it's not easy. I mean, he wasn't stripped of the captaincy like they did with Thornton in San Jose, which was like miserable to watch. So it's not a negative going into the dressing room and all that at the start of the season to get the season started.
Like, by the sounds of things, they approached him and said, hey, look, what do you think about this? And he apparently said to Treliving, I think it's time for Austin to be the C, which is very classy. It's good in the way Treliving approached him about it, and it's good in the way that Tavares reacted.
It was
to
done
it.
correctly.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it was.
Which usually isn't done
Yeah.
in pro sports, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
feelings are hurt. Like, look at what's happened there with Swayman. That's going to be interesting.
Wow.
Over in Boston.
He got his money.
He got his money, but they're only like $386,000 under the salary cap. Either
Can you
they
hear
had
that? That's Chester at home grinding his teeth about all these comments.
but he had no choice, right? Love you,
Oh,
Chester.
dear.
Love you,
Chester.
buddy. But he had no choice. Obviously we don't have access to the conversations, but they said, okay, if you want more money, which guy do you want us to let go? And so he basically became a good teammate and said,
and Boston's a different culture than a lot of different
100.
areas because, like I mentioned before, excuse me, it was all to do with Chara resigning and Bergeron and Marchand.
Yes.
and all the ones that came below, like after, not below, but
Pasta.
after. And they've all
those
done it.
guys.
Well, one thing I found interesting is that they gave Swayman that leverage when they got rid of the other goalie.
100%.
Yes.
100%.
And maybe Swayman made himself scarce until something was done with the other goaltender. It's like, hey, Swayman, we want to talk to you about an extension. Yeah, just leave a message. I'll call you right back. Right after you get rid of Olmark, I'll call you right back.
Yeah.
And then, because he's got all the leverage now.
100%.
Yes.
And so now that you've gotten rid of, I'm saying it right, Olmark, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so, now he's like, well, I'm the only game in town, guys. And so, because I think they offered him $64 million and so he ended up
64
with
over eight.
64.5 or because
That's
he,
what
he
the-
nudged him up a little bit.
That's what Neely said, but his agent said he never heard that number. So
Oh,
So, I mean, I heard 64, and then now he's signing for what, 8.2 AAV for 8 years,
Yeah.
which means it's 65 and,
and,
a half.
and
or
I'm
something.
and I'm glad he did.
Yeah,
I,
66.
Swayman needs
8
to be in
years,
Boston.
66, 8.25.
There's
Fifth,
no way they were
fifth highest paid netminder.
Yeah.
He's got good statistics, but he hasn't won anything,
Right.
right? Like you can have a 900 save percentage, but if you take your team to the Cup Finals, you're going to get paid.
Yeah.
So
100%.
it's just it's unfortunate, but it's a what have you done for me lately?
So Boston, they lost DeBrusque but brought in Lindholm, right? Is that their only major move?
Off the top of my head, I think you're right.
Yeah.
DeBrusque, I mean, he was going for money, which is fine.
But Lindholm now playing on that top line,
I think Lindholm's a great
it's going to be a
good
good
acquisition.
Now, DeBrusque performed in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
DeBrusque
where
is
he
just
made
that
his
blue
money.
collar. He's going to serve Vancouver really well. Rick Tockett's going to love
Yes.
him.
I love the
Sandpaper.
That's for a young team like that to
Yeah.
pick up a dude like that.
For 7 years.
Watch out for Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
And
for
not
7
just
years, they
'cause they
picked
were
up
good
the
He
last
might
year.
he might not like the travel as much. Like you're sleeping in your own
Yeah.
bed playing on the east.
I'm already fast forwarding to a second round Vancouver Edmonton playoff series. I can't wait to see
They
that.
got
Yeah.
goaltending issues right now.
Who's that?
Vancouver. A lot of Demko's
yeah,
still hurt.
Demko's
They
hurt.
do and they don't, because I was mentioning last week, Arders, who's the
Silva.
Silos.
Silos.
Yeah.
right. So he's the up and comer, and everybody was so surprised by how he played efficiently in the last playoff, Schenker, but he's close.
And they got that Lankinen as their third.
Yep.
Yeah.
DeSmith's in there.
Yeah.
Well, they
That's their
showed their
backup.
goalie depth last year in the playoffs when
Absolutely.
everybody who
That's what
stepped
I
in to
mean.
play
Yeah.
net for Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Silos. He
So they've
he
got some
ran
depth in
with
the
it.
goalie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not worried. And I'm not here to downplay what you're saying, but Vancouver
all
will be
good.
just fine with their goaltending.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention we're still.
They're
I
going to
mean,
score.
They're good enough to have an average goalie and still make the playoffs and get their horse back in time. For
Yeah.
playoffs.
Right.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
fair.
So he's kind of in the same boat as Toronto's goalie, where I think he'll do fine. It's just he's got to stay healthy and stay in the net.
Exactly.
So the
Well-
Tampa Bay Nashville game has been canceled
Oh,
Because of the
because of the
hurricane.
because of the
weather.
hurricane coming.
Yeah, because they were supposed to do their ring ceremony
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. So
But
Is what
and
it
you
is.
know what? I've got some friends on the Eastern Seaboard, and I was just talking to them this morning. They're talking like 15, 17 foot
Swells.
swells.
Again,
Yeah.
From, what was it, last week? 2 weekends ago.
Yeah, they weren't quite that high, but like with Hurricane Ian, Mark Tebow was telling me they've got a condo in Fort Myers, which I learned something after Ian. South of where the eye is where you get the storm surge. North of it is you don't get as much. So, for example, the eye hit below Tampa, but above Fort Myers. Tampa, it sucked the water out of the canal, so boats were sitting in mud in Tampa, and then all the water came and hit Fort Myers.
A lot of the brunt of it was Fort Myers and also St. Pete's. We went to Caddies on the beach when we were there last Christmas, and unfortunately it's gone.
Yeah. And
so-
and it's going to be even worse. They're calling for worse storm
Yeah.
surge this time. Like so,
Well, it's a Category 5 now, so
Yeah.
is it? They say it's supposed to weaken before it
down the
hits
hatches.
land, but my God, like
I just got a
prayers out
text.
to everybody
Casey
there.
DeSmith is in Dallas, not Vancouver.
Was that over
Okay.
the off season?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Who's your source?
Jason Career.
Grind dog.
Chris Taylor.
Shout out to
Grind
Grind
dog.
Dog. Knows all, tells all.
Yeah, just sent me a
I don't
message.
ever question Jay, that's for sure. Shout out Jay. I always have some good chats with Archie in the barber chair, and your name always comes up. Good. Thanks for listening, pal.
Hey, speaking of NHL, your Flyers, Halser, this Mitchkov, I'm hearing nothing but good things about him.
I got him in the pool.
He's a peach. He's a peach, and I love Torts this week. He's a beauty, man. Torts comes out, and somebody mentioned him playing on the third line. It's like, only Torts. I can't quote him because I don't remember exactly what he said, but in Torts fashion, it's like, are you an idiot? This guy's I'm not going to take a score and teach him how to be a checker
Right.
when he's 22 years old.
Right. Yeah,
I think he basically accused the reporter of some kind of narcotic consumption.
Yeah, give him the reps. Give
They
him the
say
reps.
he's the best prospect out of Russia since Ovi and Malkin in 2005. But what's interesting is that because of the war, they say there's 90% less scouting in Russia right now. So you're taking a Hail Mary on some of these guys. But
Well, fortunately, they got him before the war started, and they scouted this
Right.
kid, and nobody thought he was going to come. And so, at the end of the day, I'm not sure Philadelphia is really an overly relevant team this year. Making the playoffs would be probably best case scenario for
Right.
Philadelphia as a top.
because they weren't
6 or
expecting
7.
him for another couple of years, and they
Him
got him
and
out early.
our fifth pick from the draft from Montreal, Davidoff, or he was supposed to go number 2 or number 3, and we
Right.
got him at 5.
Yeah.
They're pulling out the OVs and the Malkins and all that. Let's just let the kid come up.
We'll see after 3 Stanley Cups and about 1,000 goals. We'll see if they reach that.
Exactly.
That
Yeah.
level.
Exactly.
I'm
I just
interested.
hope he's a hockey player. That's all. I mean, Malkin. I always preferred Malkin to Ovechkin because Malkin is a hockey player.
Oh.
Ovechkin is one of the great goal scorers of all time, and I don't want to take anything away from him. But every once in a while, you don't have the puck, so you got to do something in your own end. And I remember the old joke about Ovechkin. It's like after every game, he goes and introduces himself to the goaltender.
Well, and,
Yeah.
and scoring 60 goals and being a minus 50 isn't a good look
That
either.
was
right?
that one. You remember that one year, right?
I
where
do
he
remember
was
it well.
Actually, like he had 35 power play goals in one season, and he was a minus 50.
It's unbelievable. And
Try
like
it.
if you ever look at the nose picker for a stick that he uses, like it's unbelievable. Like he does that like the one timer like Stammer does on the off wing, and everybody knows that he's setting up for it, but you just can't stop it. Like he's a goal scorer. He's a pure goal
He's
scorer.
as pure a goal scorer
Yep.
as you. Like, I mean, him and Lemieux and Bossy and
Yep.
Gretzky is as good as there ever was for a goal scorer.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see who's going to be your starter, because you that back that 6 foot. I can't think of his name. I know his name. I just don't want to.
Carey Hart's tied up for a little bit.
Yeah,
He's got some things going on.
he's chosen the path of redemption instead of goaltending. Apparently,
But Urson's one. But then that 6'5".
Oh, that mod.
yeah, the kid they brought over late last year. I'm terrible with names. I don't know. Anybody on the chat, send it in.
They're saying he's supposed to be take over number 1.
He
by
will
Christmas.
eventually. I mean, there's nothing like a 6'5" goalie. He takes up so much room in the net.
Founce, Bevo,
Yeah.
Chester, put it in the chat.
Yep, somebody put it in the chat. Help me out here. Help an old man out, fellas. So anyway, I love the tall goalie. Like I said, I always joke. You always know a tall goaltender when his pants are above the crossbar. When you're at the rink and you can see that his pants are coming up above the crossbar, and you just go, "Holy crap, that dude's a big." Like that kid from Air Jovanovski the other night, 6'5", 17-year-old kid, 6'5", and he just takes up half the rink.
Yeah.
It just looks like you have nothing to shoot at.
Yeah.
So Les will get it for me.
Well, that is how you.
Ivan Fedorov.
Yes.
All right.
He's a tall kid.
Yeah, like I say, he's 6'5" or
Yeah.
something. I
Yeah.
thought he was Czech, but he's a Russian.
So, Schenker, you had a stipulation for you coming on tonight that you need to be
Yeah, something
on by
about
quarter
coaching.
after 6.
Yeah.
Something
got
about
some
coaching
girls'
hockey is
hockey
more
here.
important.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Oh,
We're at that time already.
yeah.
So
We're gonna take a break anyways. And
yeah, we're gonna get to a couple of our sponsors first, but
And folks, if you could send in donations for Schenker, who clearly needs a new jersey.
Frito Lay.
All right.
Wow.
I believe it says Chet Lemon on the back.
84 champs. Let me turn around here so you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
84
very nice.
champions.
I can cross out the 8 and put a 2 if you want.
whoa, whoa!
I
Wouldn't
love
that
it.
be a story?
Don't you go changing
Tigers
a thing,
and Mets.
Schenker. I love it.
Wow. Wow. That's another good series. Phil's Mets.
What a season '84 was.
Top of the
Let's
eighth,
talk
no
about
score.
that.
As a Jays fan, that was a tough season to take because the Jays, and I remember '84 very well because
They had to lose.
after 1 month, the Jays had the second best record in the
Yeah.
major leagues, and they were 6 games back of the Tigers in the division.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Crazy.
Doyle Alexander.
35-5 start.
Hey, Schenker, do you like fish and chips?
Yes, I do.
Awesome. If you ever get the craving, you could visit one of our sponsors, Joe's Diner.
Nice segue.
It's the official breakfast, lunch, and dinner diner of the Armchair Chirpers, home of the world famous Perth County breakfast number 4. How do you take
Over
your?
easy.
How do you like yours?
Over easy. White toast.
Yeah, and meat,
I'll take the bacon.
bacon.
Can I just say
Attaboy.
something? They have a great Monte Cristo. It's kind of disappointing. No one knew what the Monte Cristo was last
I
week.
just said that last. I appreciate
It was
that.
good.
So will Blaine and Julie Myers. 2 locations, one in Stratford, one in St. Mary's. A busy, hustling, both diners, and they do a great job all the time. And thank you so much, guys, for your support.
I actually had the pleasure of meeting Rebecca on Saturday.
Yes, you did.
We got introduced, so that was awesome meeting her.
Sweet gal.
Yeah, very nice. And of course, Reboot Repair, Stratford's best computer supply and services, personalized IT solutions, hardware, software repairs, on-site business services. Reboot Repair.
Awesome, guys. Thanks, Dylan and Cameron, for housing us at our world headquarters for the podcast. SBS Metals, and just to give you an idea, we had our kickoff to the Armchair Chirper Zone last Saturday. We'll get into it, but Kathy McCann spent some time, my lady Janet Lang. So there was actually, and the lady,
Sherry Dowsett.
Sherry Dowsett from Brighter Vision. So we had some of our sponsors up there,
Yeah,
and
that
they
was
saw the
awesome.
good time it was, and
So good.
just wanted to give SBS Metals a shout out, Dennis and Kathy. Metal fabrication with professional craftsmanship, Stratford's preferred custom commercial and residential metal fabricators. If you haven't been to their Facebook page, folks, they always throw up pictures of their work. They do all sorts of different ventures, and we invite you to follow and like them on their social media channels. And it's a great advertisement for what they actually do.
I got to give a huge shout out to Dennis Culleton. I was over at Dufferin when you and I were there today, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the Irish. Jeff and I were over at the Dufferin today, taking all the hockey equipment that we got on opening day there.
The Duff Gardens.
The Duff Gardens. And I was talking to the arena worker that was on staff. And
Wasn't Toby.
It was not Toby. Toby had the day off.
Wasn't Toby Shanker.
Oh,
usually there.
Shanker.
He's
Oh,
usually
come
there.
on.
But
you veteran listeners out
shout
there,
out to
that's it.
Dennis, because I guess the boys had a problem with the one door. The door, actually, the hinges broke off. And so the door flew right off, like as the kids are coming off the ice. Thank God there was no kids around. So it falls into the stands. And Dennis hopped on his wagon and got out there and got it fixed up and lickety split.
Yeah, what's Dennis's reaction? Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We'll get it taken care of.
So good. So
Yeah.
huge shout out to
Awesome.
Dennis and SBS fixing the boys up at Dufferin.
Excellent. So we'll definitely get to the remainders of our generous sponsorships. And Shanker, we're going to have you on for a full episode at some
Yeah.
point.
We'll bring
So,
you back. You're okay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, just we'll get a hold of your agent. Is that how
Yep,
that
that's
works?
fine.
Perfect.
Our
Carson.
people will call your
Carson.
people.
Okay.
We'll get a hold of Carson. He's the agent, camera guy for the Irish and everything.
Oh, and just a quick note on that. I haven't seen a young kid like yours having such a great time at the Irish game
he
on
loves
a
it.
Saturday night. He was beaming.
Oh,
That's because I
loved
just
it.
give
It
him
was
candy,
so
get them all
good.
hyped up, and
Yeah.
Love that
There you
picture
go.
with the three of us.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
That
it
was awesome.
As soon as he
And,
came in, he goes, I said, go up to see Halser. I said, he'll let you run the camera. You sure? I said, yeah, I'm sure they'll let you.
Let them.
Let him.
Yeah.
He
let
might
'em.
have a future.
The videography before that was a little questionable.
Yeah.
Well, in fairness, you're calling the game. I'm doing the analyzing. I'm running the OBS program on the laptop and running the camera. And I got a text going, "Who's on the camera? The camera work is shite." Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
So come on over.
Kim and I keep telling him, you got to get into sports. You're good at this.
Yeah, yeah. It's
awesome.
always good to see you guys up there, and thanks so much. For you guys coming. It was a great night, and
Had fun.
again, we'll get into.
You
it.
just got to look at a kid like Bradley Kramer, who's working for Sportsnet,
Yeah.
local boy.
client of mine.
You know,
He's just soaring.
that is awesome.
Yeah.
So if he's into sports, follow your
Exactly.
dream.
Not only that, Carson is famous for the broom, right? From
the
last
old
year.
green
Remember?
broom that you
yeah.
told
The
him not to
broom,
bother
yeah.
with, Shanker.
The Allura sweep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Allura got their pound of flesh on Saturday night, though, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay. We'll be right back, folks. And we're back. Well, as we're live, still nothing in the ball game.
Bottom 8.
Bottom
A
of
nail
8.
biter
Yes.
in
Scooble's out, though.
Cleveland.
Yeah. Like we've been saying it, you gotta love this time of year.
Oh, it's the
October's
best time of
MLB.
the year.
for sports.
Yeah.
I mean, even
Hockey.
you just go to not just hockey starting up and
Football
baseball playoffs and
and-
footballs and
Oh, my God.
college football is going.
Unreal.
A wild day
What
of
was
college
the
football.
what was the upset there last week?
Vanderbilt beat Alabama.
Oh, Alabama.
And then they took the
ripped the post
goalpost
down.
3 miles and threw it in the river.
Yeah, well, they walked down Broadway. For those of you that have
In
been
Nashville.
in Nashville, they walked all the way down Broadway and then threw it into the river there.
Yeah.
But
And,
Actually,
with a
for-
police escort.
Four of the
yeah,
top 10
yeah,
teams
exactly.
lost
Yeah,
in college football. 4 of the top 10 teams lost outright.
a shootout at the OK Corral this season.
It was crazy. Good thing it's a 12-team playoff. Otherwise,
Right,
teams
I
don't.
love that.
So do I. 'cause
That
a
is
lot of
just
teams'
gonna be
seasons would
so
done,
good.
Right after Georgia lost to Alabama last week, they'd been done.
Well, the great thing about it is that, not to get too deep into college football, but back in the day, if you lost one game, then your season was over,
it was
and that
done.
could be in September, right?
Yep. The
and
only
now,
time, that's actually, ironically, that was the only time that you could rebound from a loss, is if
Right.
it was really early.
as if it
because-
was early, yeah,
Because
yeah,
it would be a whole bunch of old white sports writers that were voting to see who was the best team, and now they settle it on the field the way it ought to. be.
Yeah,
yeah, so good.
Just really touching on college football for a sec. The program in Colorado with Deion Sanders, I've been hearing a lot of different things coming out of there with the way he's doing business, and it's not exactly as it seems on the camera.
Well, and no one should be surprised, but I will say this: 2 of the guys who are likely to go in the top 5 of the NFL draft are both playing in Colorado.
Yeah.
And now whether that's recruiting errors, fouls, or whatever, I don't know. I don't.
Well, and his kid's one of them. And there's been talks about Jerry Jones loves his son, Shadur, who's the quarterback of Colorado.
Yeah.
So
I've been just hearing about his effectiveness. Like he seems, and I don't think I misheard, but something that I've been hearing is he's all about the camera, and when he's actually in the element of being with the team and so on, he's not as I guess influential as people are being led to believe.
they started off like gangbusters last year. For those
Yeah.
that remember,
It was a great
They
story.
were the story for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. Like everybody was
They
on
made-
the Colorado
They
bandwagon.
made more money on their home opener than they did all previous seasons
Yeah,
combined.
yeah.
Like it was ridiculous, $24 million
Yeah.
or something like that.
And-
And I'm not trying to downplay. I'm
No,
not
no.
I'm not
No,
trying
it's
to bring
fair.
in a negative. It was just this, interesting to think that I think Prime Time is a real deal. He has been. He's had a great career,
Time.
and who knows? I guess we'll find
Yeah.
out.
All right. I just been going over some NHL betting stats for the season coming up.
Yeah.
Odds on favorite to win the cup. Edmonton plus 750.
What's Vancouver at?
Makes sense.
Vancouver Canucks.
That makes
are
me nervous when he
at
asks questions. like that.
2,000. Plus 2,000.
See, now.
Dallas
be-
Stars are plus 1,000, tied with the Panthers and Devils. Avalanche are 1,100. Toronto's plus 1,200. Hurricanes 1,400. Rangers 1,400.
Where's
Goes down
Florida
for there.
and all of that?
1,100
Okay, so
or
They're still-
1,000. Sorry, they're plus 1,000. Betting odds for Hart Trophy. Anybody got an idea who it is?
Probably even money on McDavid, you would think.
Plus 140 on McDavid.
yeah.
Plus 500 on McKinnon. Plus 850 on Matthews. Plus 1,200 on Jack Hughes. Plus 1,800 on Nikita Kucherov. And Pasternak's in there at plus 2,500.
Without sounding obnoxious, is there ever a competition for MVP of the league? Honestly. And there's no wrong answer.
Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
just a conversation here.
I think it's a conversation. I think McKinnon is such a beautiful
Yeah.
hockey player. I mean, at any given time, he could take over a season, and if McDavid doesn't play to his maximum, I don't think there's any question he's the best player on the planet.
I think McKinnon's your best player, period. Well, not it. It's so hard, like offensively, McDavid. But McKinnon, both ways. He can do it both ways.
McDavid is completely both ways, though. Like
Wow.
he just is.
I think he made great strides in the past
He did.
season.
On the
Rounding out,
defensive end, yeah.
rounding out his game.
But McKinnon's been like that for
I'm
a
not
few
here to
years.
argue
Yeah.
McKinnon. I mean, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other with those
Yeah.
two. I'm glad both of them are on our team in February.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of a cool little power.
How
play.
do you feel
That's-
about that? The four nations coming up.
I am about as enthused as I am any other exhibition. Frankly.
No, so you're not.
Well, I mean, let's face it. We're. It's not like it was when I was a young person. There's so many different competitions now. I just have this stance where I'll watch, but only when it means something, and drumming up for team competition for the sake of boosting some TV ratings is going to be fun, and I will definitely watch. But it's not like I'm going to get a whole group of people together and have a pizza party in my basement and celebrate and remember the day
Oh.
where I was when.
It's not like the
I'll
87.
take your invitation off of the pizza party.
Having said that, if somebody else is having a pizza party, I like free food.
If Patrick's giving out coupons for
Yeah.
pizza parties,
I guess why I asked that, and we've had several conversations about this tournament on here, Hawley, and I would never discount your thoughts. I just think that this country has been craving, with the amount of talent that this country has from top to bottom, goaltending, I'll leave it at that. But we never forget the feeling we had. You never forget the feeling that you had in 72 or in 2010, 2014, especially 2010. I don't think the game's ever been better, and I don't think Canada has been as dominant as they are. It'll never be easy with the amount of global talent that's around, and I would never think that it's a shoe-in. But I just want to see Crosby play with McDavid. I want to see him play with McKinnon. I want all those guns to play
Yeah.
together.
Well, like I said, just to be clear, I'll be watching and I'll be cheering and I'll be enjoying. But like I said, it's not like 72. It's not like.
What do you take on your
87.
pizza? You're back invited.
I just.
I just want to see the best.
Canadian.
I just want to see the best on best.
Yeah, exactly.
What do I like on my pizza? Dead Russians.
that'll be the only thing missing, right? Is that you don't have the Russians.
Yeah,
It's,
Well,
it's,
that's a
it's
political thing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's
It
not
is.
right that you can't have a top four competition and not have the Russians there. But
100%.
obviously they
so TSN released their projected Team Canada roster. Left wing, Zach Hyman, Sidney Crosby, Marchand, and Matt Stone. Centers, Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Braden Point, Nick Suzuki. Right wing, Mitch Marner, Connor Bedard, Sam Reinhart, Matt Barzell. Defense, Devontae Taves, or Taz, Marker, Morrissey, Bouchard, Dunn,
Marker, who's he play for?
Colorado.
Oh, Makar. Oh,
Whatever.
sorry, okay.
You can do that all you want. Noah Dobson, goaltenders, Jordan Binnington, Naden Hill.
I'd say dry erase Makar.
Yeah.
Sounds all right.
Well, I mean, your third line center iceman's Braden Point, who's one of my favorite hockey players on the planet.
Ollie, I couldn't agree with you more.
I love
Like
the
Canada
guy.
could have two teams.
He is my favorite NHL player. He is.
I
Him
mean,
and Corey Perry.
I love watching that guy play hockey, man. He can
Do you-
talk about tap dance in a phone booth. That dude is
Well said.
what a set
Well
of
said.
Yeah.
silk
Well
mints. That
said.
dude
Do you
has.
think Braden Point is going to miss
Stamkos?
Stamkos?
No, because they got Hegel on the line now, and they've been
Actually,
absolutely.
I'll turn that around on you.
Do you think
I
Stamkos-
Stamkos is going to miss Braden
Yeah?
Point,
Yeah.
among others on that team?
Yeah,
Nashville has every reason to be excited about it, but I mean, you're coming from a power play that had Point and Kucherov and
Hedman.
yeah.
and Hedman, and they're just as good as Nashville's going to be this year. They don't. They don't have
I know
anything
I've
like
mentioned this before, but when we were down in Tampa, Tampa was playing the Canadians, and it was Cooch, and it was still Stammer, but it was Cooch, Pointer, and Stammer. And it would be the breakout, you could see it evolve, and it would be Stammer and Cooch on the boards, and you would see Pointer in his own zone do this big swoop. And whatever winger was open, he would fly up the middle and it was either Stammer or Cooch giving it to him, or they gain the center line and shoot it in, and he's full speed.
Yeah.
And it was textbook offense
Yeah.
what they got, what they were doing. And I'll never forget, Janet said, "Who's this guy out here just flying around?" I said, "That's Braden Point."
He's the best hockey
Yeah.
player a lot of hockey fans have never heard of.
I
Yeah.
couldn't agree
If
with
he
you
walked
more.
down the street, 99% of
If he
people would
played-
know,
if
have
he
idea
played
who
in a
he
better
is.
hockey market, he would always be mentioned in everybody's top 5.
Right.
Whether it's like an original Six City or something like that, he would absolutely.
I've
be.
said it on here before
Agreed.
on the record. He is my favorite NHL
Yeah.
player. He is that
I
good.
tell you how much I like him. He reminds me of Forsberg.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty big
That's a-
company.
that's
He
a bold
reminds me
statement.
of Forsberg
Yeah.
because he can do it all just like
Yes. Yes.
So as of today, Nashville has Stamkos on the line with Tommy Novak and Jonathan Marchessault.
Yeah, and I like
Yeah.
Marchessault too. Nobody outside his family likes Marchessault more than I do, but you know,
Oh,
like
man.
Nashville's going to be really good.
I think
They are. I think they're gonna be
they're
tough.
the
Well, it's a depth,
sleeper
right?
team
It's a depth.
for sure.
But
that-
I have a
that
feeling
power play in
Marchessault's going
Nashville.
to do more for that team than Stamkos.
But that power play in Nashville could be outstandingly hot. Like Philip Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly, Jonathan Marchessault, Stamkos on the point with Roman Yossi.
And of course, Yossi and they got another. There's that other defenseman they have too, is a good player.
Dante
Ryan
Fabro.
Ellis. Ryan Ellis has
That's
been there
another good
forever.
player. Yeah.
That-
I remember.
Well,
him
they don't.
too.
They don't have
Yeah.
Ryan Ellis.
Remember
No,
when he was
Ellis,
in-
I think he's
No,
retired.
Isn't he
He
retired?
retired,
Yeah,
yeah.
like he
Rome-
had
Oh.
injury problems.
Nashville's
apologies.
Nashville's defensive pairings are Roman Yossi, Dante Fabro,
Fabri's
Brady-
a nice player, too.
Sajik, Skjei.
Oh, that's the guy that was
Yes.
Sky, isn't it?
Sky,
The guy that was
something
with
like
the
that, yep.
Rangers
Yeah.
last year.
Luke Shen, Jeremy Luzon.
If you ever get a
and
chance, go
Alexander
see a game in
Curie.
Nashville. So
Apparently,
much
it's
fun.
the loudest rink in the
It is so much fun.
According to Hawley.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah,
Brady Sky, that's his name, Brady Sky.
yeah. It's
Fabro's a
such a
nice
fun
player, too.
town.
Yeah,
I'm pulling for Nashville for a major reason, and I know I've shamelessly plugged him on here, is Barry Trotz. I just
very
think
good.
he
Great
is.
coach.
Well, he's a GM there now, but
He was a
he's
great coach.
Oh, he was a great
Yeah.
coach, absolutely. I just love him. So, all right,
Maxim. The Sharks have announced Maxim Celebrity will be ready for opening night.
That's good because he hurt his
He hurt his
Yeah.
lower body.
lower body injury.
The old LBI.
Crashed into the boards, so pregame against Utah. So, Brian, what are your thoughts on Utah?
I just think that it's nice that the people in Utah have an NHL team. I mean, because it was an absolute dog and pony show in Phoenix from day one. They should not have gotten a team in the first place. They should have lost the team 10 years ago. And when you've got a team, you've got a rink and a bunch of people up in Quebec who would be more than happy to do. Even if you didn't like the team that would be in Quebec City, it's still 100 miles better than what was going on in Phoenix. It was an absolute joke. So it is very simply put, they're going to be better in Utah than they were in Phoenix because you could put them in Shakespeare and they'd be better than Phoenix.
So the
Yeah.
Kings were in Quebec City last week. There was the LA Kings played in Quebec City. Sellout crowds against Florida Panthers. Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers. Full house. And they just wanted hockey back.
Yeah, and used to be the same in Hamilton when they'd go to Cops and watch the games there, and they'd fill the place. I remember watching Pavel Bure and the Canucks against Grant Fuhr and the
it was the
Sabres.
very reason in
Oh,
Rendezvous
man.
'87 that they played in Hamilton and not Maple Leaf Gardens.
You know,
The same.
'Cause
And
they-
I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
Les, for sure.
the running joke was you can't give Hamilton a team because then Toronto will want one too.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's 100% true.
Oh, tough
That's
crowd.
That's the oldest
Tough
joke in the book.
crowd.
That's the old one, man.
that's why we gave you the easy chair, my friend.
Absolutely.
You'd lean right
Make-
back and don't
make-
worry
make
about
me
it.
comfy while I just throw it one across
Les,
the
it's
bow.
I love
2
it.
versus 2 now.
Well,
Like,
Les and I got along way too well for 4 days. It's
Yeah.
time we got back at it.
That's right. we don't have to get along now till Wednesday.
that's funny.
Flyers
That is
fans.
Yeah.
You know,
Mitchkov is the leading candidate for Calder.
Is he?
Yes. So
It would be interesting though. Like I give Jim Basile credit. He did everything that he could to sneak a team into
He
Hamilton.
tried so hard to backdoor that
twice.
league.
Once with Pittsburgh and then with Arizona.
And then
Batman was having none of it.
And then he was going to build that arena off the 401 outside of Cambridge.
Yes.
And you know, and I hoped he would have succeeded, but obviously with him not, you just can't set the precedent like that, right? Where Balsillie did it, and then all of a sudden, like what's, and I don't want to get into this, but what is the remote conversation to have right now that Atlanta might get yet another team?
It's disgusting.
It's nonsense.
It's disgusting.
That's
because
the worst.
they've had 3 times and they've left.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Like, what are they trying? Like,
And they haven't done anything to improve their arena. But they want a team back? I just don't
and
understand.
Batman's like, well, we'll listen to you.
It's like we talked about there, I think it was last week or the week before, where those Southern teams will support a winner. Like if Dallas wasn't winning, if Florida, Tampa wasn't winning, then, you know, it'd be a ghost
The Sun
town.
Belt.
The Sun Belt, the warmer, non-traditional hockey markets. If you're not winning.
Well, Houston's on the map now for an expansion team.
Yep.
But in their defense, I mean, the supplemental draft for expansion teams is a lot different than it used to be.
Right.
Like when Tampa Bay and Ottawa came in.
Oh,
what a
yeah.
mess that was. Mark Lamb was, I think, the number 1 pick for Ottawa. But Dallas is doing great.
Yeah.
Right?
Gary Carpenter, 3-run homer for the Tigers. Sorry.
Oh, yeah?
Shanker.
Ooh.
Shanker.
Shanker would be dancing in the
Yeah.
top of the 9th, 3-run homer off of, I think it's off of Class A too.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. Thanks for the update, Holly.
Wowzers.
Yes.
Let's get into a little bit of the OJ.
Yeah, the GOJHL. This week we were in air Thursday night. I'm just going to say Stratford looked good in warm-up.
That was the best they looked all night, frankly.
So Jason Clark couldn't be there. He was away for work, and
Well, he knew which one to miss. Though.
I got a text message at 7 a.m. Friday morning from Jason. Did we lay an egg, or was air that good? And I said, well, we laid an egg, but air beat us to every aspect of hockey. They might have beat us off the ice as well, but it was not pretty. 6-0 loss. It was just not pretty at all. The biggest bright spot was Chase Furlong.
Yep.
New goalie for Stratford, got pressed into action.
For those who aren't familiar, what's his story?
He was with the Erie Otters. He was draft pick of the Erie Otters. Late cut. They've decided to go with 2 older goalies. Played in Winnipeg last year for Rink Academy prep school. Thunder Bay kid.
Yep.
And you got to know him a bit on the bus.
Yeah, I talked to him on the bus, and he the biggest thing he said was no more 16-hour bus rides in the freezing
in the
cold.
West. No great. On that note, I'd just like to say we wish Aiden Hill all the best out in Mitchell. He's looking for some opportunities. He needs playing time, and we're really looking forward to see his season progress and develop. And good things are going to happen. It's just all mindful decisions to propel what you're looking for in your career. So
that was kind of a bummer game, wasn't it?
Well, I tell you what, though. I mean, if you like watching that kind of hockey, and I watched last year. I watched the last 3 games of the Air Kitchener Waterloo Siskins first round playoff series. Game 4 was a nasty affair in Waterloo, and I have a guy that I work with. His son was playing for the team at the time, so I thought, you know what? I'm not doing anything. I'm going to go up to Waterloo and watch a game. And Air plays a big, physical, in-your-face style. And you could tell it comes right down from the coaching staff. They are definitely a reflection of an intense coaching staff. They were getting into it with the other coaching staff in the series. It got quite heated. So I went and watched Game 7 in Air. Went to triple overtime. And what a hockey game that was. And Air ended up beating the Siskins. And I really liked the way they play. And so going up there, I was expecting the same thing. Even though there was some turnover in that roster with Air, I was expecting, it's still the same coaching staff to the best of my knowledge. So I was expecting that kind of a game, knowing that Stratford is so young. And I thought, what an interesting test this would be for Stratford to go in there and play against a team that is a rink on basically the same size rink as the Stratford, a smaller rink. And Air came out and they have 3 defensemen that are 6'3" or bigger. Even the goalie is 6'5". They're a huge team.
Wow.
And they came out right away and they pushed Stratford around, and Stratford did not
Yeah,
respond well.
it was. Yeah, they didn't show up at all. Brian and I were in the press box in the far corner. Can't see the one corner of the rink. I'm leaning over. Brian's in between me and the guy sitting up on the lifeguard chair doing the flow
Just like
broadcast.
like literally, just to try and give you an example, there is a press room with a great big window, and there's a counter in there, and the guy who was doing the flow broadcast has got a bar stool on top of the counter. It's like his head is probably 9 feet in the air, just trying to see over the crowd to see down, and we don't have the benefit of that.
Right.
And so Les is over here and he's moving over and he's dancing around. So I'm looking under Les's arm and through the bar stool just to try to think, what do you think of that play, Brian? Well, I don't know, man. All I saw is this flow guy's rear end.
they're down in the far corner. I can't see what's going on, so I'm just calling out plays left, right, and center, and the puck would come out and the right guy would have it. So if you weren't watching the flow feed, you really didn't know that I couldn't see anything.
I think and you two and even Razor, heavily educated in junior hockey, and it's just one of those things where you just move on.
Yeah.
It's-
We get to Friday, and the first thing I did, I went down to the coach's room. I said, "Does anybody in here have a clean comment about yesterday's game?" Phil Westman said, "We're just going to file that one away in the filing cabinet and forget about it."
Well, and that's exactly what you have to do, and that's the junior professional approach that you take, because it just is what it is.
It doesn't matter the game. It doesn't matter the sport. It doesn't matter the level. It's every once in a while, I've coached for a lot of years in other sports, and there's times when you watch your team warm up and you just shake your head and just go, "Oh,
They're not ready."
oh dear." And there's, especially when you're dealing with teenagers, and I saw it, and I remember when my kid played basketball, and he had a great coach when he was in a U17, and they were in the semifinal in Blessed Sacrament, which is a high school in Hamilton, and they're warming up, and they looked normal warm up to me, and the coach is just standing there shaking his head. So I just kind of leaned over and went, "What's up, coach?" He goes, "We beat these guys by 14 points on Friday night. You can just see the way they're warming up. They're lazy. They just don't, they think they just got to throw their shoes on the floor and they're going to win." And sure enough, they lost that game. He was absolutely right. So sometimes as a coach, you identify, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it looks like a normal warm-up. Sometimes when I'm hitting infield at the start of a game and we snap it around, we do our 9-minute infield right to and then as soon as they start putting the ball in play in the game, it's boot city. You know what I mean? We just completely.
Well, and it's sport, and that's what it is.
The important thing is that
Right.
there's always another game, especially in regular season. There's always another game. So, to their credit, they came out Friday night against a weaker opponent, and I'm sure that the coaching staff said something along the lines of, "Guys, if you wouldn't mind, we wouldn't mind seeing a little better effort tonight." And that's exactly, they came out house on fire. They got, I think, 8 of the first 11 shots on net. They got up 2-0 with a late goal, and they
Properly.
you know what I mean? They just came out, and to their credit, Stratford came out and took care of business.
And then big goal Cole showed up.
Well, it was 2-0, and then Cole Lewis scores 2 goals in 11 seconds,
Yeah.
and now it's 4-0, and everybody's, and the new goalie Furlong looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Ended up getting a shutout. So he played a game and a half, saw roughly 45 shots, and saved 43 of them.
Yeah.
So is it, and I don't know, and maybe you guys don't either, is it McDougall still number one,
I
or
would think so.
I would
Furlong
say
coming
so.
in?
No,
or-
I would say McDougall's your number one.
Fair enough.
He was
He
player
is.
of the month
Yeah.
in September for the goal.
Oh, no question.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I would say Thursday.
discounting,
I talked to
McDougall.
Carter. I talked to Carter Thursday after the game, and he said, I was bad. I was horrible. I don't think he was feeling very well. I don't think he was feeling well. Honestly, 2 of those goals were not his fault. They were good goals. The one up and over the shoulder was just a hell of a shot.
Yeah, one he's going to want back
Yeah.
because he wasn't hugging the post. But
The
other
last-
than that, I mean,
Yeah, the last one, the oven mitt wasn't in the right spot, and off the oven mitt and in, right? It's that. But Friday night, he got the game off, which he he needs. He played a lot of hockey in the last 2 weeks.
And I'll defer to the local goalie here, but there's nothing wrong with a little healthy competition in that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's nice when you're genuinely pushing each other, like, in a good way. I've been in situations before where the guy is jealous and doesn't want you being there, and that's a crappy situation. Well, because it gives a bad vibe through the dressing room.
Yeah.
But when you get two guys that are genuinely pushing each other, of course, they both want to play. We're human. But when the other guy is in there and you do the good foot soldier thing, the John Tavares, you put the team above yourself, then crazy things happen. Guys get hurt. They maybe whiff on a game and they throw you in. So you just have to be a good teammate and hope for the best. And usually things happen the way they're supposed to.
Yeah. There were some pretty goals Friday night. The Galda Granowitz goal was nice.
Yeah,
the
that
one
was
across the crease. That was
pretty goal.
pretty good passing play by those two, and it's good to see because that was Nolan Galda's first game back since game 1 when he got injured. So it was nice to see him get on the scoreboard.
Nice seeing them get some depth of scoring too.
Yeah, some
There's
depth.
a couple lines that was carrying them through
Sure.
September, and
Yeah.
so getting the third and fourth line scoring was pretty
The
important.
Slattery Petrie line and Kipfer, they
And
were still a
Kipfer.
lot visible in that game. I noticed we were calling their name a lot. They started to get played a little more as the game went on.
Rewards for good play.
Yeah.
Well, and in fairness, you're talking about 2 07s and an 06. So
Yep.
two guys, one's turned 17, one's about to turn 17, the other one's still 15. The Kipfer kid.
So I think this is the first time that we've been able to talk about this with you being on Hawley. I'm really noticing these younger players really embracing Junior B. Lots of growth to be had, lots of progress to be had, but they're not a liability.
Well, it's I don't know if they'll all fit into that category because I mean when you think about it, Quinn Kipfer should probably be playing U18 with the Lakers at his age, but yet he's still good enough to play at this level, which bodes well for him. It tells you that he's probably going to end up in junior A.
Well, he's going Bowling Green. He's already committed.
Oh, is he committed? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I just don't think at U18 there was nothing for him. Nothing really
Well,
to push him at U18.
That's the thing. Is
right?
if you're good enough, I'm just saying,
Yeah,
based on his
yep,
age, you'd
yep.
expect him to play U18 for
Yeah.
at least your 15 year, your age 15 year, and then
I
because
guess-
remember you're playing 20-year-old, 21-year-old guys with beards and old enough to drink beer, and that's a big system shock for a 15-year-old kid to suddenly start playing against coming down on a
Absolutely.
one-on-one with a guy who's got a beard.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
And
They
there's-
have that
and there's-
man strength.
Yeah, and there's lots to be played out here. I guess my message with that comment would be that you see a lot of the pieces that are going to be a part of the Warriors moving forward.
well, you hope so anyway.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
retention's so hard nowadays, though, because there's so many opportunities out there for these kids.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
look at the Harmer kid from last year. You think, man,
Well,
would it be
even
nice to have
Denny
him
down
for
in
4
in
seasons?
Leamington
But I
is,
mean,
right?
he's got to
Like,
go play somewhere
yeah.
else. So.
Yeah, I'm still not
All right.
sold that the OGHL is a stepping stone, but that's me. So we go back at it Wednesday night in St. Thomas, and Brian's going to be on the call with me again. So
Home and
I gotta-
home.
I
Home
gotta
and
say,
home,
it
yep.
was it
Good
was
job,
a real.
guys.
It was just a real joy to be up in the press box in the Willie, with the long list of names that have been up there ahead of me, and Don MacArthur, not the least of them, to fill in for him for a little while he's on the mend, and it just
It's the whole. I haven't been up there in a while, but it's the whole paneling.
you feel different.
I
Oh,
get-
yeah.
I still-
Like it's 70s.
It's incredible.
I still get the chills before every game.
It
It's just something about that
Like,
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Like
old
the
carpet,
old shiver,
the
right?
It
paneling.
just feels different,
Yeah.
and it's hard to
And
describe. to be
This
honest.
isn't about Les or you trying to replace it.
Oh, no.
That's not what this comment's
no,
about.
Oh, no.
But you remember.
Yeah.
You remember Clark and Bill, or Bob. Sorry,
Bob.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it's just they were so enthralled with
Yes.
that role that they just left their mark. That
Yeah.
was so pivotal, and I remember it as a kid. It was just that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you didn't have the internet and all of that going on, and when they were in the playoffs, like you didn't have Netflix and NHL Center Ice.
You
and
didn't have a phone.
Yeah. And so you would like stop what you're doing and listen to the Culletons
Yep.
when they were on the
On
road.
CG.
On your old
Jesus.
console stereo in the living room that my dad had, and
Oh,
The wind-up one.
We used to have the family room on Pleasant Drive, and
Yeah.
my dad used to get the fire going, and we bring out the radio, and that's what we would
Yep.
do.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was a thing. It really was a thing. It's a family,
It was.
so-
It was.
And then you'd
it was
have like
awesome.
you know
Yeah.
Meatloaf and Bay City Rollers LPs on the side and the radio going and
I don't know about.
So like I just
we didn't have that where
Yeah,
we
and-
were,
and
but
I don't know
that's
how
okay,
much longer
Razor.
this role's going to last. Obviously, we hope Don gets healthy and gets back at it as soon as
Yeah,
possible.
I hope he does, but I think I'm going to talk and see if I can get you in for the St. Mary's series.
I would love to do that because I know a little bit about
because
that team. And what
that's
let's-
coming up
You
what
see
next
St.
month?
Let's
2 weeks.
let's
2
take
weeks.
a second.
Wednesday after.
Okay, yeah.
Let's
yeah.
take a
Home
second
in
to talk about
Stratford
what's
at
going
home.
on in St. Mary's. I
Yeah,
mean, they
St.
are-
Mary's is on fire.
They are 7-0.
Well, yeah, there's
and they have given up a grand total in 7 games of 5 goals.
You got 3
That's
shutouts
crazy.
in a row?
They have given 5 goals up in 7 games.
yeah, they're 7-0, Stratford's 7-1, and LaSalle's at 6-2.
But like I say, it's the goals against that really just, and that's both goalies. This kid Nico Armelin has played fantastic. They probably should have lost to LaSalle a couple of weeks ago, but Armelin stands on his head and they win the game 3-1. Poor Booth Hasago, who gets his only start of the season is a shutout, and then he comes out and he plays a second game and gets another shut. So he's played 2 games. He hasn't even given up a goal yet, and he's still
Wow.
having trouble wrenching the number 1 goaltending rank away from Armelin, who's I
Right.
think a 19-year-old kid, and so they are loaded up. They're missing Big Barkley, their best defenseman, maybe the best defenseman in the go last year, but all of their big forwards are back, all the best
It's all
forwards.
good news in St. Mary's.
Yeah,
I don't
so-
know.
Yeah.
I don't know how well this is going to work, but I want to play you a clip from the St. Mary's game. Jeff posted it on our Facebook
yeah.
page.
What a
Spencer
what a call,
Seymour has
what
a
a
sweet
save.
voice, and I'm going to see if I can get this to work.
Is this the highway robbery?
Yeah.
Was that the Pellin game?
Havers once again. Havers across. Great shot. Oh, what a save by Booth Houseco! Are you kidding me? Colby Booth Houseco just committed highway robbery with one of the greatest glove saves I've ever seen.
Fantastic.
Great call
Spencer's
by
problem
Spencer.
is he doesn't get very excited. He's such a he's just so laid back.
Oh my.
Yeah,
gosh.
so I've told Spencer anytime Stratford St. Mary's, he's coming on during one of the intermissions anyway. So we'll talk to him about that specific call there.
Fantastic.
All right.
Razor, you want to get to some of our
Yeah, we have Domino's Pizza, the official pizza of the Armchair Chirpers. Get a free large 3-item pizza if you go on our YouTube page and subscribe. Take a screenshot and come to, it used to be the Urban Barber, but now you got to come to Reboot Repair to get your coupon. So, Domino's Pizza. Thank you, Patrick.
Absolutely. They do a great job there. And Janet Lang from Home and Company Real Estate. She is a local broker with over 20 years experience. And she has coined the phrase putting the real in real estate. And something that I always notice is that she absolutely puts the best interest of her clients first.
Brighter Vision, counseling, psychology, and wellness, providing compassionate and effective counseling services to individuals and families in need. They provide a safe and supportive environment where everyone can heal and grow. Brighter Vision.
Thank you so much to that great office and organization. I'm losing my voice here. I'm been battling some things, but and just one more. The Urban Barber established 2019. 3 barbers, appointment-based barbershop, full service, and we would look forward to having the opportunity to have you in our environment.
And last but not least, Bentley's Bar, Inn and Restaurant, the official bar and restaurant of the Armchair Chirpers. 20 draft beers on tap, daily food specials, a fabulous place to spend the night in their lofts or executive suites, locally owned and operated by the Bentley family.
All right. Shall
Take
we
five.
take a 5?
We're back.
We're back.
Uh,
Under 5 minutes, too.
yeah, great show so far, guys. And everything from the yesteryear of Major League Baseball to the Warriors to the NHL, and we kind of cover a lot of bases for what we talk about, which is great news. So we'll kind of bring it down to the home opener for the Stratford Fighting Irish last Saturday night. For those of you who don't know, the Armchair Chirpers partnered with the Stratford Fighting Irish for an equipment drive for the Rotary Y families. And do you think how do you think we did?
Oh my God, we've had organizations reach out to us wanting to join next year's equipment drive. Like we didn't know what to expect.
No.
We just wanted to help the community any way that we could, and we came up with an idea that has just resonated with so many people.
Yeah.
And we can't say thank you enough to everybody that brought equipment, adults, children, teens. Like Jeff and
Well,
I
have a truck, and you have a
CRV.
CRV, and they were both full this morning.
Yeah.
I think I counted 28 pairs of skates. I think I counted 25 pairs of pants, shoulder pad, like the whole outfit.
Unreal.
And there was even people that came down that weren't going to the hockey game that brought some down. John
Daryl-
McIntosh came down.
Yep,
He
Daryl
brought
Jansen
everything.
came down and said, "Hey guys, I just wanted to drop this off." I'm like, "Oh well, enjoy the game." "Oh, I gotta go." I'm like,
Yeah.
My biggest message today on social media was, if you ever wondered what type of community that you live in, we're pretty fortunate in these
Yep.
parts.
There's probably one of the best stories that came out of it. One of you guys want to give that one?
Yeah, you go
Ryan.
ahead, Razor.
Wow, like it gives me goosebumps just reliving it. So we're up in the Armchair Chirper zone. Well, actually, I'll go back to when we first met the person. So this kind lady comes in. She's got a cancer shirt on, like one of the purplish pink hockey jerseys on. So that immediately caught our eye.
Of the Stratford Fighting Irish.
Yeah.
Yes. And she introduces herself, and just a lovely lady, but she had no equipment with her.
Yeah.
And so we asked her, how can we help you? And she's like, well, no, it's how can I help you? Gives us $100 gift certificate from Sport Check. And we're like, oh my God, like, thank you so much. Like, why?
Just the thoughtfulness.
It was unbelievable. And then she proceeds. Well, she didn't tell us the story at that
She
time.
didn't tell us anything.
Yeah, she
said,
just
"Thank you."
she just said, "Here you
Thank you,
go,"
and walked away. Yeah.
and basically walked away. We didn't know who she was. We just thought she was a fan.
Yeah.
Because I looked at both yous and I got the gift card and I go, this is a $100 gift card. And I go, well, you guys are like, what? I go, yeah. She just gave it to me. And
So
gave her a
that's where we
raffle
thought
ticket.
that's where we thought the story ended. And everyone that gave a donation got their got a coupon and
For a raffle.
were entered into a raffle where you got swag from the Irish, Urban Barber, and the Armchair Chirpers. And so we end up Paula Robinson, who's an absolute rock star. Like, she hit it out of the park doing the commentary and
Well,
promos.
she came up whenever she was in our zone, and she's like, "Are you talking or are you talking?" I'm like, "I can't talk right now. I didn't have a voice."
And so Paula gives us the number that they had pulled out, and I read the number, and lo and behold, who's the person that wins it is this lady.
Yeah.
And
Like unbelievable, Holly.
yeah,
Unbelievable.
like it was crazy. And so
Did you ever get her name?
yes.
yeah, so
Oh, you're
Here's
building-
where the
so-
story
so-
goes good.
So the story's coming up.
good.
So
It's all good.
the lady finds, she's like, where do I go? I heard, I've got the number. And they point to her at the bar to come down section down to the Armchair Chirper zone. So she walks down there, and lo and behold, we ask her, and you and I had a couple of bevies, and we're like, oh my God, like, you've got to be kidding me. Turns out that it's Cam Stokes' mom, who's one of the players on the Irish,
Who scored the first 2 goals in the game?
scored the first
ironically
2, and his mom, whose name is Christine Flowers, absolute gem. She proceeds to tell us the story about her son.
Well, and before she proceeds to tell the story, she goes, "Pardon me if I don't get choked up."
right. And you
I'm
and
like,
I.
oh, here we go.
I'm glad I
Here we
wasn't
go.
there.
But she tells the story about how when Cam was young playing minor hockey, she was a single mom, didn't have much money, and Cam needed some equipment, and she didn't have the money for it. And the parents on the team all chipped in and bought him equipment. And so, long story short, she says, I'm in a different situation now. I want to give back.
She, and not to interrupt, but she said something very, I remember it. She goes, when I get into a situation where I can, I'm going to give back absolutely whenever I can.
Yeah.
You and I are like, oh, it must be allergy season. Like, holy juice. Like, it was a lot.
It was.
And not in a way that we didn't want to hear. It was
Right.
just like this woman was literally telling us the story about being in her situation and promising herself when she gets back into a situation where she can give back, she will. And here she is.
Unbelievable.
What an amazing story.
Unbelievable. And so
shout out to Christine
Oh my God.
Flowers.
Christine
Good
Flowers.
Lord.
Thank you.
Absolute rock star. So glad that you came and introduced yourself and gave such a generous donation after Jeff and I were done sorting out the equipment and delivered that to Dufferin Arena today to Rotary Y headquarters. I ended up taking the $100 gift card and went and saw the president of Rotary Y, Jacques Lauren, over at Or Insurance. And he was like, Razor, thank you so much on behalf of Rotary Y. I have a family that is in need of this right now. And so it's just a great feel-good story that was just an idea that has morphed into this and helping good families. And like I said, we've got other organizations. We're open, folks. Like we just
and I'll say this because I want to bring on the tidal wave of support that we're going to be looking for. And a lifetime friend of mine, Sean Cameron, is the president of the Stratford Aces here in town and does a great job with his board. He read what we did and he just said, guys, wish we would have knew about this. Not in a way that was negative. He just said, please let us know the next campaign you're doing. We want to be involved. We want to propel this to the utmost potential that it can be. So it was a successful campaign.
It was a very successful campaign, and then you texted me telling that story about Sean wanting to get on board, which is amazing. Thank you. And you also brought up a great idea. We've got to keep this train going, and I think we're going to do a food drive maybe for
the
Christmas.
game.
Yeah. So stay tuned for that, folks.
And I'm just always so honored to be from this city
Yeah,
with its generosity.
Absolutely.
It's incredible.
absolutely.
It's
And there was
incredible.
some stuff in there, like there was a $400 or $500 goal mask, that like a one-piece fiberglass goal mask.
You told me you
And-
see this, Jeff? This is $500.
Yeah,
and
and
it's a
somebody's
mint
donated.
condition.
Yeah,
Brand new goalie
Chest
chest
protector.
pads, just all sorts of stuff.
yeah. One guy said that it had only been worn twice. Like, and it looked brand new.
Yeah.
And like just it was unbelievable. There was a couple of wooden hockey sticks that came
old
in.
wooden twigs.
I asked the one guy. I said,
I
"Did you-"
wanted them, and you said, "Well, maybe we should see who needs them first."
Well, and I asked the guy. I said, "Thank you so much." I said, "Were you just at Petro Canada and filled up with a full tank of gas?"
He told you professionally to go after yourself. That's what that was.
Well, he's the one that also brought in the full bag of a full set of equipment.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had a
his-
couple kits that were delivered.
From
To whoever's listening and whoever was responsible for any of it, you guys have no idea the difference that you're making for these young players that just needed a little bit of help.
Yeah.
You know, it's the reality of the common day. And you and I, and unless respectfully, you were working, and we understand that. But, man, we were on cloud nine today.
Unreal.
It's like, holy juice. Look at
unreal,
this.
and like we're unpacking the bags just to try and
Organize
get
it.
stuff all organized and shin pads in one bag, and we're looking at it going, holy crap, like this is a lot of gear. And Even the worker, Andrew Reeford at Dufferin today,
Yeah.
solid
He's like,
guy.
where were you guys on the weekend? I said, holy Reeves.
But yeah, great haul. Thank you to everyone that donated. Thank you to the Irish for supporting us and this endeavor.
What a great partnership we have with them. And when we mentioned this to them, Jamie's like, are you kidding me? Yeah. Like, where do you want your table to collect the equipment? Well,
Yeah.
what did you do? Center stage.
Yeah,
Right?
and he also tapped into his players, and a bunch of them
A
donated.
bunch of the players donated.
Like Jared
as well,
Nash
yeah.
brought down like an expensive helmet that he had from the University of Alaska Anchorage. Like this isn't some cheap helmet that he got at Canadian Tire where pieces are falling off. Like it's top quality stuff. So for anyone that needs any of this equipment, I talked to Jacques, and the best thing to do, we thought, was he's going to tell all the different conveners what we have now, and then the conveners are going to reach out to the coaches of each team and then just kind
where it
of
is.
see where they are. We had talked about throwing it on a table and first come, first serve. The problem with that method is it doesn't always reach the people that need it the most.
Yeah, it's not the target audience. sometimes,
Exactly.
right?
And so if you need it, reach out to your coach. Your coach will reach out to the convener and we'll get you hooked up. It's all I know some of the teams play out of the Rotary Complex. Don't worry, you're still able to get access to it. It's just all being stored over at Dufferin Arena's
Yeah.
headquarters.
And, excuse me, it was just, it's not a little bit of stuff. It's a ton
It
of stuff.
is a ton.
ton.
A
Yeah,
ton
folks,
of
if you
stuff.
haven't seen how much stuff, go on Facebook on the Armchair Chirpers.
Yeah.
On our social channels, we
on your
were,
socials and find
we-
out how much of a pile of equipment this is. And I also want to add
Yeah.
thanks to you guys for loaning Les out in an emergency situation
Oh,
to call
yeah.
the
it
first
was
game of the
it
season.
was frowned upon, but we let it go. We pulled him aside and said, "Les, you pull this shit again."
And so anyway,
just kidding.
it was greatly appreciated in an emergency situation. Les did a fantastic job calling the game.
I harped on
And
the referees too much,
Was
though.
not was not set up for success. I mean, we got a spare lineup card delivered about 8 seconds before puck drop.
That somebody
geez.
found on the ground.
That's
So-
one big
wow.
difference between junior and senior is that when we show up for a junior game, there's a lineup waiting for us with the scratches and everything. And then when you show up for senior, it's like, well, just hang on. We'll see who shows up.
Well,
That's kind of how we roll in the Ontario Super Hockey League.
with all the great news that Razor was talking about and that we were able to create, there was a game played. It was a home opener for the
Yep.
Stratford Fighting
Yeah.
Irish, and one thing I will say before I let everyone else talk is there was over 800 people there for the home opener, and you want to talk about getting fans excited is you walk in with a free pizza coupon, with a flag for your car, with a photo op for you and your friends to go and get in front, the smiles, the anticipation of everything. What a great job by the Stratford Fighting Irish.
Unreal. Like, hats off to them.
We had a front row seat the whole
Yeah.
opening part of it, right?
Yeah, and the look on people's faces, and if you were lucky enough to get a free ticket, you're coming into the game for free. You're getting given all of this swag for free. Like it's good job.
Well, they had a
Irish.
backdrop with the photo op, and everybody was asking. They're like, and the two guys running the photo op were awesome. They're like, you get over here and get your flag out and all this. And a lot of people were like, oh, I thought that was almost like for fancy people. No, it's for you. I'll tell you, the amount of smiles that you and I saw,
yeah.
Razor, and even
Yep.
when you were there last, like, it just makes the fans feel special.
Yeah.
And we really got an idea when we were watching the whole time, Razor, how many committed fans this team has.
It's
incredible.
unbelievable. It really is. And like when we were standing up in our Chirpers zone, which was a undivided success. Like it was so much fun. People coming by and just stopping, saying hello, maybe having a beverage.
I got an ass grab by Jeff Hunt. was unbelievable. I'm like, Janet's in the washroom. Who's this?
Yeah.
He kissed me.
None of that surprises me.
I said,
Holy
Hondo, easy, dude, easy.
It was Nerve Central. I had the pleasure of going over there and quick visiting between periods. And it's just, I can hardly get a word in edgewise because everybody, everybody's talking to somebody. Some of
Yeah.
us were talking to more people than others. And
So much fun.
I mean, it's just I was having difficulty digesting it all because I'm trying to decide which was the most cool thing going on, whether it was the Chirpers site or the best seats in the house right beside you, or at the far end there's the VIP section with all the Crunch Fitness people, bunch of people that I knew that I work out at the gym with, and of course Dr. Bruce was there as well, and he was ecstatic. He was so happy. And then you look around the rink and there's, I'm saying to myself, I said to Les, I said, there's at least 600-700 people here.
Yeah.
I heard later on that I believe the official number was 815. And I'm not even sure if they caught everybody. So the thing that almost got overlooked
Was the hockey game.
how good the hockey is.
Yeah.
It was fast.
The pace of it, and I knew it was, I was thinking to myself, is it just me or is this pace? The word that came to mind was frenetic.
Yeah.
And it was, and that's what it was. And then I realized at the end of the period, when I see this man beside me here, who I just done 2 games with in the last 2 nights in junior, who just put the mic down and went, phew. That's what he said.
Yeah.
He's like, oh my God, man, I can barely keep up with these
And
guys.
this was no knock to what the great job Les was doing, but I said to you at the first intermission, I said, how you guys doing? He goes, you said, Les is out of breath. Like, it was just fast, furious.
It was just
Multiple
end-to-end
times.
hockey and just go. And honestly, being the third day in a row doing it, my voice was getting a little crackly and all this, but just keeping up and end-to-end. And when you get thrown into a situation like this and you get the lineup, you don't know the players. Because I did catch
100%.
myself calling some of them the Warriors kids' names
Right.
because I just pick up the number, right?
Getting
You're trying
the
to get
number mixed up.
Yeah, the sleeve number. And I got this little program. I'm trying to pick up without leaving too much dead air. Oh, this number. And I'm calling somebody something wrong. And I'm, oh, nope, sorry, that was this guy instead, right? But, Brian just kept a steady ship. I'd get flustered and he'd just
Steady.
come right in.
Cool and Luke / Brian.
Well, speaking about the game, they started off really well.
They did.
Stokesy had a great. They were coming down on a 2-on-1, and left-hand shot. He was on the right-hand side. He did a curl and drag. And
Little sliver in the
Oh,
side.
yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, very nice. Right in front of the Chirper zone. So
Yeah.
everyone was cheering and going
A couple
crazy.
people said, they scored for us. I said, you bet they did.
That's right.
Yeah, just they didn't play well in the third period. They were down 3-2 going into the third, and you kind of felt like if they could just keep it 5-on-5, they had the quicker team. I thought Jared Nash looked fantastic out there for a guy who hasn't played in a little while.
Yeah, in 2 years I was talking to his
So
dad. in
fast
intermission.
forward to the third.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because the second period was just
the second
just a
period,
blur.
The second.
unfortunately, there was a little bit of last year in the second period where they took a lot of penalties. That's the nature of this level of hockey, though. I mean, these guys, like when they're playing at that speed and they're used to playing a little bit angry and there's a different kind of a vibe around the net where if you go looking for trouble, you will find it.
Yeah.
Brian, you're highly familiar with the team, with the new ads this year, and I know they were missing a few of their studs. What were your thoughts of the new debuts?
There were 2 or 3. Nash, I thought, was fantastic. Didi Umidi looks a little rough. I think you could see the potential there, but he just looked a little bit rusty.
Yeah, we did say during the game that we noticed Laura was focusing on Didi Umidi when he was on the ice.
And he was
Trying to
stirring
get
it
him
up
off
for
his
sure.
game.
And they did. But I thought that the new guy, Palillo, looks
Palillo, yeah.
fantastic. Mitchell Casey looked pretty good. Just had the one issue on a goal against there, but that's the nature of Mitch's game. He's a risk taker. He likes to carry the puck. He likes to force the play, and every once in a while it kind of bites you in the rear end. So as my old pappy used to say, one hot day does not a summer make. And so when you look at this game and you say,
Right.
what's really important?
fair.
And then I looked at Pi after the game, and Pie does not take losing well. I don't know if
No.
anybody knows him.
I
He's
saw
so
him. I saw him in
competitive.
the stairwell in between the second and third, and he was coming up the stairs when I was coming down. He goes, "Sloppy." I just gave him a
And-
fist
and
pump.
it's
I
just-
don't want to say anything.
But I grabbed him after the game, which he loves when I grab him. He loves that.
Where?
Yeah. In the stands.
Oh, I thought you meant you grabbed him.
Oh, and so I gave him a good game, and I said, "Listen, I know, like, because I know him. I know him
Right.
as good as anybody, I think, and I know he's burning about the loss,
Right.
and he's feeling the pressure as well. But at the same time, I said, dude, look around. You got 800 people. You've got a happy sponsor over in your new VIP zone. You've got happy sponsors
Right.
over in the Armchair zone. You've got all those happy people there. All those smiling faces. The place was rocking. The place was a
Holly,
party.
it really was.
It
was
was a party.
rocking.
If-
It was
It
a party.
really was.
It really was.
It
Yeah.
was.
As a play-by-play guy and a guy on the thing, if Sam Taze could turn the music down just a smidge,
Well,
I
Yeah.
just like I bug Sam every time. Turn it down, see. But honestly, he
Yeah.
only has it like 20% of the volume.
Folks, if you weren't there, shame
Yeah.
on you for 6 weeks because you missed a hell of a party. A hell of a party. And we'll be back at it this Saturday against the Delhi Flames, 7 o'clock.
And we'll all be in the zone this weekend.
And you'll all
probably.
be in the zone because my boy James Rutherford's going to make his Ontario Super Hockey League debut, doing the play-by-play. And hopefully we'll have a little better production. The camera froze on us in the last 2 minutes. And when you're putting...
And then he lost the picture completely.
When you're putting an old fart like me in charge of the technology, you really are selling yourself short. And so James is much better at it than I am and more familiar with it. So it'll be a little better production. And
I think you need to get Reboot Repair looking at that.
I think so. I think those nice fellas at Reboot
oh, you mean
and
our
Repair,
sponsors?
Our
Yeah.
sponsors, yeah.
Those
'Cause
nice fellas at Reboot and Repair will probably take our tech level up at least 6 points, I would think. But
I'm no veteran, but the worst part of the game was doing it with the headset on, and you get no feedback, so you're not hearing it back
Yeah,
in your head, right?
That's the
Right.
way we've been
Yeah.
rolling the last 3 years because this is
It's
my
just-
4th year doing this. And then I realized after I kind of got spoiled with the juniors because like, hey, I can actually hear stuff going on. So anyway,
Because
we got
it's just nice to hear.
In fairness, that's about the
Yeah.
last level we need to bring up. We
That's
brought
right.
up the
Yep.
level of hockey. We brought
But-
up the game day experience. We brought everything up to a nice high level. The tech is just a little slow in catching.
It'll
up.
come. It'll come.
But even with
Yeah.
that said, like just with the environment and it wasn't the outcome that we were hoping for, but it was a success.
Oh,
it really was.
Like the-
when I looked around there and we were looking around and I'm going, man, this is
Yeah.
I
It
thought
is
it was borderline. It was borderline second thought. The outcome of the game was borderline second thought because the experience was so cool.
Yeah.
And some people might think, well, it's easy for you to say you work the hockey club, but
Sure.
at the end of the day, I miss most of it.
Yeah.
I'm busy. I was setting up for the
Right.
game, and
100%.
I actually operated the camera for the first 2 periods, and
Yeah.
doing my job and trying to help Les out at the same time.
I'm
'cause
halfway
he
down the
doesn't-
stairs with the headset on, trying to see the scoreboard.
But what people don't realize, like we're talking a lot about the experience,
Yeah.
which full marks to the Irish for provide. It's an entertainment. Like
Oh, it is.
the
It's-
game
yeah.
is great.
It's a brand.
but it's the brand and the entertainment that they provide. While the game is going on, like we haven't even touched about. Like they outshot Ilara 47-33. They ran into a hot goalie. Was it Colin Dunn?
Colin
Dude?
Dunn,
Yeah.
and he's
Yeah.
he's
Dunn,
he's
he-
an OG
he-
in this league, and he's
Yeah.
been one of the best.
He played well. Now, that being said, and Pi and I talked about it after the game. There was a couple of crossbars, a post. That could have changed everything.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Even though they lost 6-3, I thought
With an
that-
empty netter.
Yeah, one was an empty netter. So they were right in it. And they were missing some of their guns. Robbins, Mav was at a wedding, Cooper Leach.
Cooper Leach is one of their best.
So,
players, too.
and I'm not making excuses.
No, and there's no excuses to be made.
No
One thing I
excuses.
will say, Holly, and to everybody here, Henderson, 24 on defense, man. That guy is smooth as silk.
Yeah.
Matt A and Matt B, Henderson and Fuller.
Good
Yeah.
Lord.
They're
Yeah.
both very good defensemen.
So
Yeah.
when you say that, Matt A and Matt B, who's the other one?
Fuller,
Fuller.
Matt Fuller,
Okay.
number 2.
number 7.
7? Oh,
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's all right. That's why you called it the wrong. That's
Well,
no
that's-
worries.
There's no 2 on there.
No, there
Stokes
isn't.
wasn't
Hawley,
even on the Stokes
Henderson,
wasn't
number
even on the
24.
No,
lineup.
Stokes wasn't on this. Yeah.
That guy is just a pleasure to watch. He is so smooth.
And one of the other positives is that even though Stratford got into penalty trouble in the second period, Elora didn't score 1 goal. Like I think Stratford had 4 or 5 straight penalties.
And that's a good power play.
That's
they
a
got to,
yeah,
Elora.
exactly.
Elora.
And so there's a lot of positives for Stratford build off of.
I
There
thought
was a
Darren
lot
Smith,
of-
the goalie, played well.
Yeah, there was
Yep.
a lot of block shots.
He did. He really
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
And I've noticed that both in the senior and junior game this year. A lot of block
Yes.
shots. Puck's not getting
Yeah,
through.
air, Stratford couldn't get any shots through on their
Yeah.
very few power plays, and Elora did the same thing on their. To their credit, they killed penalties really well.
Yeah.
For the amount of power play opportunities, I think there was only the 1 power play goal.
Yeah, I was impressed with Elora from the moment they showed up. They showed up in this beautiful
Razor and I are
coach
watching
bus.
this
The coach
coach
bus, yeah.
bus pull up, and he goes, "Who's this?" I said, "I don't know, Wham."
Nickelback.
And
Careless whisper.
and he goes, "Watch this."
Sorry.
They had an extra door open for the team, and the 2 coaches were sitting there and checking them in on the iPad as they passed.
Yeah.
I go, "We're not in Kansas anymore, Razor,
No.
or St. Thomas." But it's like,
Some of the guys were walking in without their equipment, right?
Yeah.
but it's like, and then like just being an observation. All these girls walk in on the other side, paying their tickets, and they're probably the players' girlfriends,
Wives.
wives.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's the thing about
And
this level of hockey.
yeah,
Like
it
these
is.
guys
Yeah.
have families. some of
And
them.
I'm just saying to Razor, does Pie know about this? Because I'm pretty sure that that's not the entrance to Tilbury.
there's no Irish bus yet. No
Right.
Irish
But
bus
with that
yet.
being said, these guys came in, and I was like, this isn't normal.
It was impressive.
It really was.
I was impressed. Little old Elora coming in on a coach
Yeah.
bus, and they had the coats, and
Yeah.
it reminded me
Like
of
given so there's the chain fence between the admission and
Yeah.
where they were going to do. They're giving their girlfriends and wives kisses. I'm like, this is sickening. Like it was
It was
stupid.
like right out of Bull Durham or something. Where the
Yeah.
bus pulls up,
It
right?
was ridiculous.
I honestly, because the Lakers were playing before, I honestly for a split second thought, okay, well this is the AAA team
Yeah.
coming in, and then all of a sudden I see the
No,
Elora
this is
coats.
the Elora Rocks and
Right.
how they come in.
Well, they were rocking it, all right.
Yeah. Well, they were playing Chris de Burgh on the bus, so that may be a deflection. But
After Wham.
Oh, yeah.
anyways,
Anywho.
Awesome.
It was just a great night.
Yeah.
Just a-
it really
It
was.
was
so
it really
good.
was. And congratulations to the Stratford Fighting Irish. Every single person involved, like literally every single person involved. You did a great job. It was a busy night. I don't really think there was any problems or anything like that.
Like shout out to all the volunteers that helped with the
gosh.
setting up our banner and
specifically
bringing,
Jeff Morris, who is the game day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what game day overseer,
yeah.
Director of game day setup.
director
Yeah.
of game day operations.
Everything.
Out there. We just gave him a title.
He's
That's
lights out.
Yeah,
And he
like
is-
so-
he really is.
He
Dave,
doesn't stop,
Dave
though.
and Don Cassoni.
He's one of the smartest, most organized fellas I've ever met, Mo.
Yeah, so good.
Truly, couldn't
So
agree
good.
more.
So next game Saturday against Delhi, correct?
Saturday, 7 o'clock. Be there, be square.
All right. Tigers won. We're good.
Tigers won.
Tigers ended up winning 3-0.
3-0, yeah.
So
Go Yankees tonight.
Yeah, that game is going to start in about 7 minutes. So,
That's it, fellas.
yeah.
All right.
Thanks for another good one.
Yep.
Thanks
okay.
for having me. Always a pleasure, really, coming in and having a chat with you guys.
love having you, brother.
You'll
Hey,
be back.
The time
Hawley.
flies by like nothing.
Yeah.
really.
It's
like,
true.
Time flies like butter.
It's butterfly.
You know you'll be back. It's all good, my friend. This isn't goodbye. This is
See you next
until
time.
next
Yeah.
time.
All right. It's okay not to be okay. Just start the conversation.
Absolutely, Les. And thank you, everyone, for turning in and listening. And please tune in to our social media channels on Facebook and Instagram. That is the best way to follow us. That's it.
And meet us in the Armchair Chirpers Zone next Saturday night, 7 p.m. We'll be there. Goodbye.
Ciao.
Cheers.